Hey everybody, it's Eli from Elfbait, and today we are at day 21 of the Dungeons & Dragons 30-day challenge. I'm going to say right off the bat here that I am probably going to call it quits at day 21. I know it's a 30-day challenge, but I'm finding that after day 21, the questions really become a little silly. I mean, what is your most frequently rolled number on a d20? Who cares? The point of the 30-day challenge is to get people talking about D&D. And I already do that. There were some questions that are really good and fun to answer. But I think when I got to some of the monster questions, I really realized that I didn't feel like the challenge was really bringing anything new to the table or bringing anything out. I would likely be talking about these things with you all along, or had been talking about these things all along, or would be talking to you about them at a future date. So day 21, favorite dragon, color type, etc. I guess I just am finding that it's becoming harder and harder to actually pick, and these categorizations are a little too broad. So I'm going to call it quits after day 21. There'll still be videos, but I think I'd rather just pick the topics that come to mind, tackle issues that I see, coming up online or in discussions with coworkers and the like, and really just keep the channel back on track. I'm not trying to be a downer or anything like that, and it certainly has been fun doing these. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I definitely enjoyed doing them, but I'm finding that I think I've really got as much out of this list as I really can, and the intention of the list is certainly, been played to its purpose. So I am going to tackle dragons, and gotta say right off the bat, my favorite dragon type, to best of my knowledge, doesn't exist in 5th edition yet. I really love the Linorms. Linorms are kind of Viking-themed dragons that came out originally in Dragon Magazine in the 2nd edition days. And the Linorms then continued to have some coverage in the Monstrous Compendiums. In fact, if I reach back behind me here into the hobby table, this one, Monstrous Compendium Annual. Now, this annual, it makes sense that they'd show up here. The annual came out and chronicled monsters that had appeared in Dragon Magazine or in other modules and other resources that had come out. This is a cool time to be looking through the Monsters Compendiums because Dieter Lisi was the go-to artist. It was during the Planescape days as well, and so he was kind of doing a lot of the art in here. But Linorms are neat in that dragons, the chromatic and the metallic dragons, those dragons are very much standardized dragons. And by that I mean they have a particular form. They have wings, they have a head, they have 4 legs, they have a tail, and it's really just the cosmetics that change, and then their breath weapons and their attitudes and personalities. So, and you wouldn't expect much more of a dragon. But from there, it just, brown dragons, green as they expanded to the dragons beyond the original cast from the Monster Manual, we, for the most part, see that same formation. Well, the nice thing about the Linorms is there's enough of these guys to where you could really replace the entire cosmology. Well, not cosmology, that's the wrong word. You could replace the entire cast of dragons in your campaign with these guys. And the nice thing about the Linorms is, for the most part, they are not good. Neutral Evil. Let me do a quick brief. Corpse Terror. Let's also listen to some of the names. We got a Corpse Terror Linorm. He's 330 feet long. He's a unique Corpse Terror. Linorm dragon. He's neutral evil. There is the Dread Linorm. He's solitary, very rare. Chaotic Evil. Now, of course, these are second edition terms and 1st edition AD&D terms, and so, number appearing, frequency, it's really not stuff that gets kicked around anymore. The Flame Linorm, neutral evil. The Forest Linorm, chaotic evil. The Frost Linorm, neutral evil. Grey Linorm, Chaotic Evil. The Land Linorm, Chaotic Evil. The Midgard Linorm, also another unique one. He is, let's see, Lawful Evil. Rain Linorm, Chaotic Evil. Sea Linorm, Lawful Evil. Catching a theme, Linorms are not good dragons. Linorms, for the most part, are much more in keeping with sort of old world dragons. I mean, we're talking about dragons that don't have wings and are not the same sort of thing that we would associate with, modern fantasy dragons. Linorms are more worms. There are long, sinewy, coiling creatures who have legs and a very dragony head. But like the dragons in D&D, Linorms are designed to fit certain areas. We have land Linorms, we have sea Linorms and all that. But they provide you with kind of just a darker, grittier, grimmer version of the dragon. I feel that they are great if you're trying to do like a Dark Ages campaign, or you're trying to set your campaign in a kind of a deeper wilderness. The Linorms seem to be inserted more specifically into the environment than the conventional dragons from D&D. While all dragons are associated with an environment, whether that's in the deserts or the oceans or the forest or the swamp, they don't seem to embody those things as well. I mean, when you look at the picture of the Corpse Terror, and I'm going to try and see if it'll show up here. If you look at this guy, he's covered in moss and fungus, and he just looks kind of half dead. See if we can get him in there. But it's not a great shot. But they're just very, I don't know, they just feel more elemental to me. And so having one of these things coiled in some hollow in a dark wood that the party's been trudging through, or crawling out of a smoky, steamy, maybe geyser surrounded rocky cave, is very, I don't know, it has that dark fantasy element to it. So these dragons are perhaps maybe better suited towards a dark or grim, gritty, dark fantasy setting. As far as breath weapons, I mean, they have your usual age categories and damage categories like the dragons did back in the day. Again, these haven't been made for 5th edition that I know of. And certainly hoping they will be. I mean, you can find them online. You can find some ports and conversions, but they haven't appeared in an official book. And really, they didn't have an official place in D&D originally either. I mean, they were an article on Viking dragons in Dragon Magazine, and I've always liked Dark Ages fantasy, and so they just really spoke to me. But let's kind of go through a real quick discussion of their breath weapon capability. Regardless of the dragon, breath weapon is always what stands out most, what characterizes the dragons the most. So the Corpse Terror, this is one of the unique Linorms, where there's only one of them. They have a paralyzing breath that's a 10-foot wide cone, and 300 feet long and 50 feet wide. 10 foot at the mouth and 50 foot at the apex. Now it's pretty nasty. They also have a second breath weapon. It's disease breath. It's kind of weird. So 2 breath weapons. You'll find that the Linorms, a lot of them do have two breath weapons. They also have spell casting abilities. The Dread Linorm, it has 2 heads. The right head does a magical cone of chilling wind, and the left head does a cloud of hot dust. So you kind of get a fire and ice effect from the Dread Linorm. The Flame Linorm, as the name would suggest, has, yes, a flame attack, but it actually has a second attack too. It's got a cloud of hot ash, and then the excuse me, wow. The other breath weapon is a long stream of flame, so not a cone of flame or anything like that. Really kind of cool. So with the Linorms, you're going to keep switching it up. They've got their spells. They're all really intelligent. but they've got the double breath weapons a lot of time. The Forest Linnorm, it has an acidic liquid that it can hork up. And that is actually one of the Linnorms that only has a single breath weapon. But like it's a Forest Linnorm. It has a weird effect. Like it's got a constant invisibility to animals power. They can do things like warp wood and stuff. So they're kind of very druidic dragons. Frost Linnorm. It's got a cloud of icy particles is its breath weapon. So only one breath weapon for that one as well. The Grey Linnorm. It's a jet of black slime that is like acidic. It's caustic and it can burn stuff that it touches. Also, their tail oozes poison. So it's very. If you read a lot of like the Poetic Eddas and stuff like that, dragons and even actually medieval lore, a lot of dragons are also associated with poison, which is weird because in D&D you don't see dragons with poison usually. It's that's a wyvern thing, but dragon blood or dragon saliva, dragon tears. In this case, there's slimy tail that's poisonous. The Land Linnorm, it is a blast of heat as its breath weapon. It instantly fatigues its victim. So in 5th edition terms, this is a breath. This dragon breathes a breath weapon that's going to start immediately inflicting levels of exhaustion. That's going to wear your party down real quick. Not only, then it's going to lay into him with its spells. It's going to lay into him with, it's crushing physical attacks. It's pretty nasty. The Midgard Linnorm, it's another unique one. It's supposed to be the child of the Midgard serpent. It has 3 breath weapons. Spray of boiling water. And then, let's see. Reading through these, sorry, should have prepped this. Second is a cloud of dust. And looks like the third is a cone of wind. So very, very storm-oriented. So pretty nasty there. And then we have the Rain Linnorm. It's, I know I keep saying Linnorm over and over, but to set them apart from just regular dragons, their breath weapon is a stream of boiling water. That's pretty nasty. Just a quick note on this one. It casts its spells at a level equal to 8 plus the dragon's combat modifier. So that'd be like 8 plus their hit die bonus. 8 plus their hit die bonus. That's pretty severe. And the Rain Linnorm is kind of nasty. It has very serpentine looking face, but they've got just a quick touch on spells. Lots of these have like plant growth and entangle spells. Call lightning. They're very elemental dragons. They're even though they have specific environments, but you can get the sense that these are all designed to kind of very much interface with a dark wilderness. The Sea Linnorm breathes a cloud of caustic acid droplets. Well, that's nasty. Can't be employed underwater. Like a lot of the other Linnorms, cast its spells at 8 plus its combat modifier. So, Linnorms, they're really cool, funky dragons that there's a wide enough array of them to where they can easily replace other dragons in your game. You got your Forest Linnorm, which is going to replace your Green Dragon. You got a Land Linnorm, which, forest and land, those are kind of the same. You got a Rain Linnorm versus a Sea Linnorm. So if you read their descriptions, they can easily slot in for other dragons. Now, if you were going to use these in a world with regular dragons, it could be that you have territory that is Linnorm territory, maybe the Northlands or something, or the Deep Wilderness is and there's conflicts between the Linnorms and the dragons, the true dragons. The text on the Linnorms talks about how they are not considered true dragons. One interesting thing about the Linnorms is all Linnorms, and this is a really cool thing, all Linnorms have a death curse. And this is very Viking-y, very Norse for them. They have a death curse. When you kill a Linnorm, you're immediately put under its death curse. And so, yeah, you beat the dragon, but what happens to you afterwards? So normal dragons don't really have that. You beat them, you slay the dragon, you get the treasure. With the Linnorm, you slay the dragon, you might get its treasure, but now you're cursed. And these are pretty potent curses, and they vary from dragon to dragon, or Linnorm to Linnorm. So, you could definitely work a world where you had Linnorms versus true dragons, and of course, if you're doing that, you've got the true dragons who are versus, against all the other dragons. You got chromatic versus metallic, and then you have the gemstone dragons and the neutral dragons, and all these, which are the gemstone dragons, and the shadow drakes and all that other stuff. So, one thing to say about dragons is if you really look at the vast spectrum of dragons that are in D&D, there are so many dragons, way too many to really have appearing in one campaign, especially if you've got multiples out there. Think about this. Try when you're going to run a game. How about if dragons stop being this common thing? Common. I mean, they're never common. But what if dragons are rare enough and old enough to where you just take like the ancient version of each of these dragons, and the dragons are just one dragon. They're not red, green, blue. They're not a land Linnorm. They're not a sea Linnorm. What if each dragon was just a personality in your world, and you use the statistics of one of the particular dragons to be that dragon? So the land, maybe just off the top of my head, the land Linnorm, he's Skethrix, and he's, this is his territory. And then you have a fire dragon out there who is, Pyraemius Majorum, whatever you want to call him. But instead of being like, oh, it's a red dragon, it's an ancient red dragon, you have encountered the red dragon. You've encountered the land Linnorm. You've encountered the blue dragon. And so dragons become something special and unique. You can still have more common dragons, but why not have those more common dragons be the drakes, the wyverns, the dragonelles, all these lesser dragon species that are already in the game, and leave the big dragons, the nasty dragons that have age categories, just have them be in your world at like they're, adult or ancient or elder and or whatever, above. In 5th edition, it's even easier because you only get like 4 categories. I mean, AD&D had like, 8? All the way from hatchling all the way up. So these dragons have been around for a long time. You kind of get to that, Dragonheart scenario where all these dragons are really old. There aren't that many of them left. But your world could still have dragon things. They're just the dragon, the lesser drakes. But kind of off topic, a little bit of a DM tip segment attached to this. This is supposed to be the 30-day challenge. But really, I'm going to go ahead and call it here. Again, 30-day challenge has been great, but I'm going to cut it here at day 21. There's just not that much. Favorite spell? I don't have one. Favorite monster overall? Well, I've already talked about the favorites in various categories. I mean, how do you pick one over all of them? I think as a DM especially, it's really hard to say I have one monster that I love to use over all the other monsters. Favorite magic items? There's just too many. Favorite mundane item? That's a silly question. Rope, 10-foot pole, iron spikes. I mean, what are you going to do? Favorite curse or cursed item? Curses and curses are something I use very, very specifically in my games. And so I can't say that I have one that anybody's going to be able to pick up a book and look in. And then we have PCs you've sworn off playing. Well, I don't play all that often as a player. I used to play a lot when I was younger, but in my adult life, I really haven't spent much time on the player side of the screen. And I wouldn't swear off any character. If I had to swear off one, it'd probably be the monk, because I just haven't been able to get my head wrapped around the monk in D&D. It's always bugged me, but I'll do another video on that, or probably not, because I don't want to. I know monks are a favorite of a lot of people, and I really don't want to piss anybody off. For me, the monk is the only class. I'll say it here: the monk is the only class in D&D outside of specific regional settings. Out of the core races, it's the only one that really has a culture baked into it. Fighters, bards, magic users, clerics, thieves, barbarians, all of those are very generic, but the monk is built very specifically around an Asian template of culture and philosophy. The other classes, even the other caster classes, even the other, they are very much still loosely woven cloth. Even built into the monk is the system of ki, which is, yes, you can morph it into something else. But out of all the rest of the classes, it really just speaks to a specific culture. But that is way off topic. So there's bonus content here on the end of day 21 and the last day I'm going to cover for the 30-day challenge. I know it's a 30-day challenge. If you think I'm cheating, fine. I can't help it. There's just not enough interesting topic to cover left on the 30-day challenge. So comments are below. Please talk. Talk amongst yourself. Like, share, and subscribe. And, I'll be doing more videos. Going to get back on track here, kind of talk about some DM tip stuff. I've got a couple videos I want to do on, like, subbing out more complex monsters. I want to talk about... I'm rebooting 2 campaigns. And I would like to do a dress down of, like, my first year with 5th edition. And some of the stuff I learned, because I've been playing D&D a long time, and I came into 5th edition a little late, but I've only been playing it for this last year, running 2 campaigns, and I learned a lot about 5th edition and how it interfaces with my old man, gamer mindset, and so like to do a video on that, but more about that later. This is going on to 22 minutes, which is long for a 30-day challenge video. Thanks for coming by, guys and gals, and aliens from other worlds, and non-corporeal beings, and beings of pure thought and emotion. Whoever you are who's watching this channel, thanks for checking in, and get out in game.